Well, this was unexpected. So, if you haven't heard, the new SpeedDuel set that's going to be coming out for us, it pretty much got announced already. I believe it was Teammate PS that pretty much made the announcement on Twitter. But yeah, we already know that the next set we're going to be receiving is the Battle City finale, and this is really, really exciting. I did have a couple thoughts about regarding the set and plan on making another video going more in depth and trying to predict all the characters in their decks they're going to be receiving. I did this for the Midterm Destruction set and had a ton of fun, and I think I did a pretty decent job predicting each of these decks, and want to go ahead and give it my go with this one as well. So I'm going to be working on that in the background. But however, I wanted to go ahead and talk to you guys about what exactly we know so far and what to expect and some of my thoughts. Alright then, so if we go onto Twitter and head to the Konami Twitter page, right here we can see that, yeah, we have some very notable cards right off the rip. We have cards like Mudora the Sword Oracle, Swords of Revealing Light, Max C, Joker's Knight, Lava Golem, Breakthrough Skill, Injection Fairy Lily, and Doom Caliber Knight. All these cards are crazy to be introduced into the format, and I think a good amount of these cards are going to be very impactful into the format. Specifically, cards like Injection Fairy Lily come to mind, just because with her specifically, you can get decks like Rat Toolbox to be very, very viable and very powerful, just as an extraordinarily consistent way of bringing her out. And that's super exciting. But Doom Caliber Knight is also another really interesting card, just because it's a type of like negate. It's a monster negate that's very accessible to many decks that can give up their normal summon. So that could be really interesting to see. Especially maybe even decks like Fossil Strategies could end up making use of it, just because you don't necessarily need to normal summon in that deck, but if you can back up your Fossil monster with a Doom Caliber Knight, that could be really good. But besides those two cards, two other notable cards for me were the Breakthrough Skill and the Swords of Revealing Light. Both of these cards just for very different reasons. Swords is going to be huge for any deck that is going for more control, for a more control-oriented strategy, and or just decks that are a lot more fragile and have to deal primarily with their card effects in order to deal with your opponent's board. So this is really, really strong for that. And it does make me nervous that maybe like decks that are a lot more stall oriented are going to be abusing this card. I have no doubt that we're eventually going to see a card like Swords of Revealing Light get hit to like 3 or 2, something along those lines to balance it out. But Breakthrough Skill is super interesting as well, just because it's a better version of Lost Wind in the current format we're in. It's just an outright monster negate that works twice. I feel like that makes this card very, very valuable, especially with some of the cards in the format we have right now. So I'm super excited to see how much this card's going to see play. As for the other monsters we have here, Mudora, Maxi, and Joker's Knight, these are really interesting. Lava Golem's already in the game, so I'm not really going to talk about it. It's going to be really nice to see it in a secret rare printing, so that's really cool and something I look forward to. But in particular, let's talk about Max C. Personally, I don't know if this card's going to make that big of an impact in SpeedDuels particularly, just because while we do have decks that like to special summon, we don't really have anything that's so dominant that it's going to be a necessity to play Max C. Do I think it's going to see play here and there? Probably. But I don't think it's going to be like ubiquitous like the way it is in Master Duel or any format where this card's legal. It's an interesting card. I feel like it requires the correct format in order to see play, but it's probably just going to be like sitting in the background for now. And I feel like the main purpose this card's serving in this box is as an easy way to give TCG players a way to get access to Max C, because if you've seen the secondary market for this card, it is incredibly inflated. It's like really, really bad how expensive this card is if you just want to get access to it. So not only is it going to be getting a very pretty secret reprinting, but it's going to be accessible to every player, at least in common. So that's really cool. The Mudora and the Joker's Knight are really eye-opening to me, because one of my predictions was that Yugi's deck was going to be possessing the some of the new support for the Arcana Knights, the Queen's Knight, Jack's Knight, and Queen's Knight. And Joker's Knight was one of those cards that I contemplated whether or not it could be printed, but decided it was a bit too strong. So I am very surprised to see that it's actually getting its printing here. With this card getting printed, I wouldn't be surprised if we also got like the spell card specifically for Slifer, the Thunderstrike Summon. I think that's what it's called, something like that. So that'd be really, really cool. And not ironically, if that's the direction they take with Yugi's deck with the Arcana Knights, I would love to play that strategy. It seems really, really fun. And finally, we have Mudora. So in my opinion, this is probably the most balanced one when it comes to the new Ishizu retrain cards for the Earth Fairy monsters. It's gonna be really interesting to see which direction they really take with her, because originally what my thought was going into predicting what decks each character was gonna be getting, I was thinking that Ishizu might end up getting like all her original retrains of the all the original prints of the Earth Fairy monsters, and then the skill was gonna make it to where they each had their retrain effect or something along those lines. I didn't actually expect for her to actually get one of the newer monsters. And this has me questioning, is this the only Ishizu card that she's getting? Or are we going to be seeing other ones? Because this one's balanced for speed duels, but if we ended up getting a card like, I forget what each of their effects was, but I believe Kelbeck was able to like send multiple cards to the graveyard, that could be really easily abusable depending on the deck you play. So that's going to be really interesting to see. But overall, yeah, I'm super excited to finally get another product for speed duels. Midterm Destruction was extremely fun, a really, really cool set. And I can only expect that the Battle City Finale Backs is going to be somehow way better. Because Konami has been showing us that we are able to get stronger and stronger cards in speed duels. And they've been like speeding us these cards slowly. But yeah, this is super exciting. As I said at the beginning, I'm going to be working on a video where I go ahead and try and predict every single character and the deck they're going to be getting, and pretty much essentially the same thing I did for Midterm Destruction. So I'm super excited to go ahead and finish working on that and release it soon. But in the comment section below, let me know, how excited are you over these decks? Is there any card here in particular that you think is going to be like a big deal in speed duels and might possibly ruin the format or might make the format better? For me right now, I think it's either Infection Fairy Lily and or Joker Knight that could end up making the format feel a little wonky, just because of how powerful these cards are in relation to everything else. But I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. But with that being said, I've been Topsy. Thank you for stopping by. Please leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more of my content, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.